Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and welcome back to another short review. And on this video, I am going to be reviewing Venom 3 or Venom The Last Dance. I know I'm a little late to the dance, but I wanted to sit down and I watched Venom The Last Dance, and then I wanted to think about it because reviews have been mixed to really bad. And then I thought, well, let me rewatch Venom. Let me rewatch Venom. Let There Be Carnage. I almost thought of watching Spider-Man 3, but I don't know. I mean, I have it sitting next to me, so I'm going to be bringing it up, but I didn't want to sit through it again because it's my least favorite of the Raimi franchise or Raimi trilogy. But let me just first say, I don't think Venom: The Last Dance is as bad as everybody says it is. And with that being said, that is in comparison to the other two Venom movies. So I'm not comparing it to anything else. I guess I could compare it to the other films in the Sony kind of Spider-Man verse, but I won't compare it to Marvel movies or anything like that. Um, but I was entertained by it. It's would it be? I guess ranking it would be 1 out of 5. So if I had to rank all three movies, Venom, I think would be now. Once again, this is just within the Venom verse. So just the three movies. Venom would probably be like a 4.5. Venom Let There Be Carnage would probably then be 3, 3.5. And then Venom The Last Dance would maybe be a 3. And I only say that this one I'm giving the lowest review because I really liked elements about Venom: The Last Dance, but it seemed like they just wanted to get through it. Like they just wanted to, we have this deal that we need to do for 3 movies. So, let's let's do this thing. I do have here because I'm collecting a lot of the Marvel movies, and I decided to also collect the newer like Sony association with Marvel uh universe. So I did pick up Morpheus. I did pick up, I keep wanting to call it Morbius. Is it Morbius or Morpheus? I'm not sure. I always get him confused between the Matrix character. But I picked up the one with Jared Leto, and I got that on DVD. And my friend Jonathan Moody goes, "Oh God, I'm surprised you picked that one up." And I went, "Well, it is on DVD. It's not on Blu-ray." So, and then I'll probably pick up Madam Web, but I want it to be on DVD. I don't think it deserves Blu-ray. So I'm slowly kind of collecting those. When I but I do have Venom on Blu-ray. So it's a double disc. It's got Blu-ray, DVD. It's also got digital. And I think Venom is a pretty, now once again, this is just within that universe, within, if anything, the Sony Spider-Man universe, but especially within just the Venom universe. That Venom is a pretty solid film. Uh, it starts out pretty dark. I like the directing. I like the editing. I like how it starts with the ship that went into space, and it's coming back to Earth with the symbiont uh, samples, and it gets destroyed during entry, crashes. Venom escapes. The other ones are captured, and I do like how at least the first two movies, mostly not really Last Dance, but how they all take place in San Francisco, because I'm from the Bay Area, and I love San Francisco. So I love that movies create fake companies, and they'll do, back in the day it would be like a matte painting or a green screen. These days it's just, just digital, but they always put like the fake building right next to the like the Golden Gate Bridge. So you have things like Skynet or Starfleet, or just these places that don't exist at all, even if they're supposed to be present day in San Francisco. So this does that, and so I like how the first two films take place in San Francisco. Um, I enjoy this whole thing. I am a huge Marvel Secret Wars fan, so I think that what's coming up with like Robert Downey Jr. and stuff for like Avengers Secret War, I think they're gonna freaking ruin it. I don't just like they did with Secret Invasion. I don't think that it's going to have anything to do with the comic book. But I remember collecting and reading back in the day the Secret Wars, and seeing all of the superheroes getting new costumes and powers and stuff, because comic books weren't really doing that good, and so they wanted to do something totally different. DC did the same thing with Crisis on Infinity Earths, but I remember really being into the Marvel one because I'm a big Spider-Man fan. And I remember Spider-Man getting the black costume. I remember down the road the fans hating the black costume, bringing back the traditional Spider-Man costume, and then creating the Venom character, not losing that character, but having it going on to like Eddie Brock and stuff like that. So the films do follow, to a degree, a certain amount of story from one shots, or like a 4-part series or something, or a 3-part series, like a collection. And so, excuse me. So I do think that this is a pretty solid movie. The humor I just don't like in all three movies, the odd couple humor between Eddie and Venom. I do like Tom Hardy. I like that he does Eddie and the voice for Venom. But the bickering that happens in all three movies gets very old. You would think by the third film that they're now kind of this, they got this bond going, and they still just bicker and bicker and bicker and bicker and bicker, and it gets very boring very quickly. And but and the ending of this does get a little, they start adding in the sense of humor to the ending of this, so you kind of know what's going to happen in the next movie. We also get our introduction to Cletus, who will in the second film be Carnage, and I liked that. I know that people make comments about Woody Harrelson's wig, but that's fine. If you look at the comic, that's the type of hair that the character has. So I didn't mind that so much. And then, because I thought it looked goofy, it looked like a wig, but that's fine. And then when we get into Venom Let There Be Carnage, I was trying to figure out the time frame between the first and second movie, because they do retcon the ending of Venom and the meeting of Eddie and Cletus in this one. At the end of Venom is Eddie Brock is back. He's now popular again. He's not a loser anymore, and this is when Cletus wants him to come and basically report, before an execution, or before he's gone to trial, or whatever it might be. So, he could give him his story. And because of the type of like reporter and stuff that Eddie Brock is. In this, it doesn't really make a lot of sense of why Cletus would call Eddie, because now Eddie is for some reason a loser again, even though he went from winner to loser to winner in Venom, which still to me doesn't make a lot of sense. If you were as popular as he was, you would probably do something else. You'd probably just go work for another paper, a startup, an internet show, something like that, instead of just sleeping on your sofa all day. But in this, he goes back to kind of being the loser again. And then and it's weird is Michelle Williams is engaged again. So it's the second time that she's engaged. But there is some similarity between the Carnage and Venom stories from the comics. Like in the comic, Venom and Carnage, well, it's Cletus, not Venom yet. They share the same cell, and then Cletus was going to kill Eddie, but Eddie escapes. But Venom has eggs left behind. Venom has like babies, and one of them gets onto Cletus and becomes Carnage. The thing that kind of bugs me about this is, I'm guessing because Eddie gives up the places where the bodies are that the police haven't found, and now Cletus is being put to the death chamber. That is why Cletus wants to kill Eddie. I don't really know why Carnage wants to kill Venom, except just that one is red, one is black, one is more powerful than the other. They just kind of want to kill each other. And then you have the Cletus's girlfriend here, blanking on her name, but she wants to kill the cop who basically like shot her in the eye, and which is why she's got like this messed up eye. But she's got this like shrieker type power that messes up the symbionts and can like blast out windows and walls and flip cars and all of that. It's like the vibration from her voice can do that. The ending of the movie does take place at a church, which I thought was kind of weird, since Spider-Man 3 took place. There was like a big battle in a church. That's where I believe that Eddie Brock gets Venom, and because of the bell, and it leaves Spider-Man and drops onto Eddie Brock. But there is a church kind of battle going on in there. The ending of this is Venom eventually eats, Carnage, and Cletus gets his head bitten off by Venom. Forget what happens to her. I literally just finished this. That's weird. That is bizarre. I just forgot how she dies. But the cop that shoots her in the eye, his eyes at the very end, we kind of see him like wrapped in a chain, and his eyes are all kind of grayed, and it looks like he just keeps going monsters and monsters. But yet they talk about his death, the detective's death, but he's not dead. He's got like a symbiont inside him or something like that, or at least a piece of the symbiont. And then at the very end is Eddie and Venom are like in Mexico. They're talking in their like a room, and there's a weird kind of image going on, and they are looks like it's like a multiverse type of thing, and they end up in the Spider-Verse. And they see there's J. Jonah Jameson, and there's Spider-Man, and there's the Daily Bugle, which is in Venom. I think it's Venom. He's looking on a computer, and there's the Daily Bugle. It's their website. So was he always in the Spider-Verse? Because I know at some point Spider-Man was going to make a cameo in one of these, but it never happened. And Venom, for some reason, wants to go get Spider-Man now. So that then brings us to, and I'll show you this. So this is the Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi one. It's a 2-disc set. And I think part 2 is the best, then part 1, then part 3. Um, I this is a movie that was put together by committee. Sam Raimi has never liked Venom and did not want Venom to be in the movie. So there was just way too many cooks. But it's, I mean, it is close to some of the Venom stuff, at least, with Eddie Brock. And then Let There Be Carnage. So then that brings us to Venom: The Last Dance, which is part 3. So like I said, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say it is. It does really feel like, pardon me, like a let's just get it done type of movie. Andy Serkis directs the second one. So I like his directing. He does some interesting stuff with it. I'm not really familiar with the director of the first Venom movie, but I also like what he did with it. Venom 3 just wasn't. And was that the same? Kelly Marcel and so Kelly Marcel. Oh, Bronson. That's a good movie. Saving Mr. Banks. That's interesting. The first 50 Shades of Grey. Oh, wait a minute. Bronson, he was the script editor. Saving Mr. Banks was the writer. 50 Shades of Grey is the writer. Mad Max Fury Road, uncredited script work. Okay. Venom, he was the writer and executive producer. Corolla, he just did the story. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, he was the writer, producer. And then Venom: The Last Dance, he was director, writer, and producer. So, and Andy Serkis is in Last Dance. He plays Null, which is pretty disappointing. Since once again, Null just kind of everything just kind of seemed like, let's just get this done. So we heard all about Null being introduced, who's the creator of the symbionts, but yet he's trapped in this prison. So because Eddie died in the first film, and Venom brought him back to life, they created this thing called the Codex, which will get Null out of this prison. So he opens these like portals, and these symbiont creatures go through, and we follow one of them because it does land on Earth. And when Eddie and Venom are in like full Venom form, the symbiont can find him. And when he's not, it gets confused. It doesn't know what to do. So it seems like the writers kind of put themselves into a corner because they have to have Venom change into, or Eddie change into Venom to then get the creature to find them. Venom does go into some animals like a horse and a frog and stuff, which are kind of cool because then they turn into like symbiote Venom versions of him, which I thought was cool. I would have liked to have seen more of that. There is the Area 51 that they're destroying. So now there's like underground, there's like a whole new Area 51. That was the stuff that I found the most interesting. I actually found the stuff between Eddie and Venom to be the most boring. I liked all the stuff with the scientist. I like this one female scientist who has a weird backstory that her brother and her are walking on a beach. There's a storm. They hold hands as they're running. He gets electrocuted and dies. And then she kind of takes over his dream of becoming a scientist. And so now she's at this new Area 51. And what I like about her is that she's more interested in like science and technology than she is human life. Like she's willing to sacrifice human life. uh, um, to obtain her goals. And I liked that. She does become I'm just going to call them Venoms because they all have different names, but she does become like a symbiont. She does become like Venom, and some of her fellow scientists also become symbionts. So they all have different colors or different appearances. And that I thought was okay. Oh, one thing what I hated the Vegas stuff, even though I live in Vegas. I just didn't like that they find the shop owner for the first two movies, the Asian woman, I think it's like Mrs. Chow, that she just happens to be in the first hotel that they go to, and then they do a big dance routine to ABBA, which then Venom insists becoming, Venom, and that's what brings the symbiote monster, to them so they can fight. If Venom never did that, the creature would never know where they are. So they do stupid stuff like that. Eddie they're both on the run because the police think that they killed the detective from the first film, but we find out that that detective is actually at this new Area 51. They're researching him because he has a symbiont in him. Eddie wants to get from like San Francisco to like New York because there's a judge there that he has dirt on that he feels that he can like blackmail into, I guess putting out a statement that they're innocent. So I don't think that makes Eddie a very nice person. Then it's a road movie, and it has two actors from two previous like Spider-Man films, one of them being the Lizard. And so I know people have found that confusing. I look at that just as little cameos, why not just let them do their thing. It's kind of fun seeing actors from other movies playing different characters. So that didn't bother me at all. I also didn't, something that I didn't like is at the end of Let There Be Carnage is Eddie and Venom end up in the Spider-Man world, but at the beginning of The Last Dance, it pulls them back into the Venom world. And that I didn't like. It was almost like, just giving us the tip. Just put in the tip, just the tip, and then we're going to pull it out. And so that really annoyed me, because we were hoping to finally get Spider-Man and Venom in the same movie together. And I guess technically they are, because for a minute he's in the Spider-Man world, like the Spider-Verse, and he's looking at Spider-Man on screen. So I guess technically they're in the same universe together for like 1 minute. At the end of this, Venom does sacrifice himself, allegedly, and we think he's dead. Eddie ends up in New York. He's looking at the Statue of Liberty. He's like, hey, we made it here, buddy. For some reason, Venom is obsessed with going to New York and seeing the Statue of Liberty. I think there is like a little speech that he does about that, if I remember correctly. And there's two like pre-credit scenes. There is a scene where one of the scientists, or one of the people at what was Area 51, does survive, and he makes it out and is kind of like wandering away from the camera. And then there's one that's later on, which I think is the very last, like end of the movie credits. We do see a cockroach go up to like like one of those like little science like beaker things, like a little tube, and there's the symbiont is inside it, so it's about to go inside the like the God, I'm liking it. It's not like a beaker, it's the long glass pieces that hold things, whatever those are called, a tube, like the test tube, maybe that's what it is, a test tube. So they do hint a sequel. Tom Hardy said that he would come back. So this may or may not be the last one. Who knows? Maybe the last one with him. And I'm going to need to wrap this up to keep it short. So their budget was 120 million. The film made at the box office 323.9 million. That's not good. Mrs. Chin, so it's not Mrs. Chow. Sorry, Mrs. Chin is what I'm thinking of. Somehow they had to fit her in there. So the film underperformed, when you compare it to the other movies, which, Venom made, and I'm just going to kind of round this up, made 856 million, but then Let There Be Carnage made 502 million. And then the Last Dance made, rounding up, 324 million. And Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's, and its budget on this was 258 million, but it made 890.9 million. So even though it's the least liked out of the three, it still made a lot of money. So yeah, so there you go. Thank you for watching this. Do I recommend seeing it? Yeah, why not? Check it out on streaming. If you've seen the other two, or just want to kind of do a marathon like I did, that may be the best way to do it. Don't have high expectations, but I'll be picking it up on Blu-ray, probably used, and just to add to the collection, because I am a completist, because I'm an idiot. So I own Spider-Man 3 too, so I have parts 1 and 2 right there, but I have to have part 3 to end it. Plus, it is Sam Raimi. But if I'm saying that, then I got to own Doctor Strange in the multi-mouth of madness, or whatever it's called, the multiverse of madness, which I thought was garbage. I'd have to own that too. So I don't know. It's all confusing. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate it. And I will see you on the next video. Let me know down below what you thought of Venom: The Last Dance. Okay.